closing arguments are expected to wrap up today in R. Kelly's federal trial in Chicago. He's facing child pornography and obstruction of justice charges. The R&B singer is accused of tampering with his 2008 trial by paying off witnesses and covering up alleged sexual abuse of children. R. Kelly's future will soon be in the hands of a jury. So for more on this, we want to bring in CBS News Chicago anchor Brad Edwards to talk about this. So just to clarify for people who are kind of following along but not closely, yes, R. Kelly was convicted in another trial, but we're talking about a federal trial now. It's different than a state trial. What could we hear from R. Kelly's attorney?
Yeah, good morning to you, Anne Marie. Good morning, David. There's a lot going on here. There was, of course, a previous federal trial he was convicted of in New York, a previous state trial in Chicago. He was exonerated of those charges in 2008. Let's go to having happening right now in Chicago. I just got a text from one of my reporters, just stepped out of the courtroom a moment ago. R. Kelly's attorney is now giving her closing arguments to the jury. And first thing she said was, think of R. Kelly as John Doe, not this superstar with all of this baggage. Think of him as Joe Average off the street. I'm told then the attorney over the next 2 hours will likely try to discredit these 4 female witnesses who were key in this trial, discredit them, say their memories are decades old, and also ask why didn't they come forward in 2008. Of course, in 2008, there was a critical trial here, state court trial in Chicago, where R. Kelly was charged with having sex with minors. In that case, there was also videotape evidence. And in this case, he's charged with paying off the key witness in the 2008 case, which prosecution say he successfully did. In 2008, of course, R. Kelly was acquitted of those charges. And now this federal trial hinges on a lot of what happened in the story in that 2008 trial. This is now 4 weeks of testimony, more than 30 witnesses, and of course the key that all sides tell me on and off the record are going to be that the 3 videotapes that the jurors saw. A lot of the details are not appropriate for a daytime audience, but even his attorneys in the state case trial says those videos show a clearly adult R. Kelly clearly engaging in sexual acts with minors.
Hearing you say that the attorney wants the jury to see him like John Doe makes me think that some people watching might think if he was treated like John Doe, he'd have been in prison a long time ago. Talk to me about this juror, Brad, who I guess had a panic attack yesterday and was replaced. What happened?
Yeah, duly noted on that point, David. The juror in this instance, yeah, said she was having a panic attack. This will be the second juror to have been relieved of her duties because of a medical issue. And it may sound dramatic, if you will, but what these jurors have seen, and a lot of what they've been shown has been behind a screen. They've almost been walled off from all the reporters and onlookers, so it's only the judge, the court reporter, the defense, the federal prosecutors, and the jury seeing, especially these sex tapes, which are dramatic and can be traumatic. The juror apparently said, I cannot see one more minute. I cannot handle one more minute of this trial. There were an excess number of jurors on standby, so she was quickly replaced by a male juror. Now it is still a jury of 12, which it needs to be. There are still several more on standby in case anything else happens, so there'll still be a jury of 12. It is made up of 7 women now and 5 men.
Brad, is that standard to have that many alternates? Because I have to say, when I heard 2 jurors being relieved for medical reasons, I thought, hey, isn't that 2 alternates? Isn't that the sort of the typical amount? And then that means there's no wiggle room. But this seems like they went to extraordinary measures to make sure that there would be a jury that was fit to sit and throughout this entire trial.
Yeah, good question, Anne Marie. It is an exceptional number of jurors on standby, an exceptional number of alternates, as we call them. The jurist, the judge in this case, 85-year-old Harry Leinenweber, he is the senior member and really the senior statesman of really courts in the Chicago area. He knew this might become an issue. He knew with such good defense attorneys and such good prosecuting attorneys that they're all going to be eyeing jurors as to whether they may want them to be removed throughout the trial. Of course, no one expected we'd have two medical issues, let alone one saying, I can't take another moment of this, I've got to get out of here. But he really had the foresight. So his goal was always to, no matter what, secure justice in this case, and they go into what will likely be deliberations still with a number of alternates in case any questions are raised by the 12 sitting jurors.
And Brad, just to remind our audience, R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison back in June. So if he's convicted here, and if he's sentenced to prison, that's simply on top of what happened in June. Brad Edwards, thank you very much for the time and the context. Last point, go ahead, I see you.
Yes, I do have one more point. Interesting, David, you bring that up. That is going to be in the hands of the 85-year-old jurist I just brought up. He got 30 years. R. Kelly got 30 years on the RICO racketeering charges in New York. It's the judge's discretion in this case, if R. Kelly is guilty of any of the crimes, as to whether any of the penalty will be concurrent, served at the same time, or consecutive. So it's all going to be up to the judge's discretion as to whether time will be tacked onto that. And then you have to keep in mind, no matter what happens here, there's New York, guilty, spending 30 years. There's here, we don't know what's going to happen. But then there's potentially beyond this 2 state court cases that may be pending against R. Kelly, one in Chicago, one in Minneapolis, which may indeed tack on time to that. But it's the judge's discretion here, if R. Kelly's guilty, whether that will be served concurrent, consecutive. Basically, will it be served at the same time as the New York time, or will it be tacked on to that? Back to you guys.
Learned a lot. Thank you, Brad.